Welcome to the Trump Breaking News Network, your daily source for up-to-the-minute Trump news. Join us today and every day. Here's today's news.
This is TBNN.
We interrupt this video to bring you a special announcement. We will continue with your video after this short announcement. There is a massive boycott with YouTube and its advertisers happening right now. This boycott threatens our existence, as well as the entire YouTube channel database. You can do a search on Google to confirm this boycott. We urge you to help by supporting our channel with a $1 donation, just $1, to help offset our growing expenses. Our staff is working diligently to keep you informed and up to date on events and intel that you have grown accustomed to receiving. Our staff produce over 70 videos on a daily basis in English and in Spanish. This is a tremendous undertaking. This is why we use a computerized voice, because of the massive amount of information we provide for you. We accept PayPal donations, and our donation link is below in our description. When the boycott is over, we'll let you know. This is a serious situation for YouTube and its advertisers. If you appreciate our channel and the intel that we provide for you, then please consider this much-needed $1 donation. I want to personally thank you in advance for your support. Victory of the light. And now, here is your scheduled video.
Russia slams absurd Trump demands, warns Tillerson don't strike Syria again. By Tyler Durden. Amid attempts to clarify areas of sharp difference, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov blasted the Trump administration's ambiguous and contradictory foreign policy at the start of talks with Tillerson in Moscow Wednesday, calling the demand for the Kremlin to abandon Assad absurd. Furthermore, he warned Tillerson that Russia believes it's fundamentally important not to let these actions happen again. Russia pushed back against demands that it abandon Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad over a chemical weapons attack, as Bloomberg reports that the Kremlin said President Vladimir Putin is likely to meet with U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. Putin complained that relations with the U.S. are worse than under President Barack Obama, while Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov criticized the Trump administration's ambiguous and contradictory foreign policy at the start of talks with Tillerson in Moscow Wednesday. Trust between Russia and the U.S. under Trump at the working level, especially at the military level, hasn't improved, rather it's deteriorated, Putin said, according to a Kremlin transcript published Wednesday of an interview with the Mir TV channel. There's a probability that Putin and Tillerson will meet if the talks between the two top diplomats show a need to report to the head of state, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters on a conference call. It's quite absurd to demand that Russia abandon Assad, as this would mean ending support for his forces that are fighting against Islamic State and other terrorist groups in Syria, Peskov said. In remarks before a closed-door session. As the Wall Street Journal reports, Mr. Lavrov appeared to warn Washington not to strike Syria again. Mr. Lavrov described the U.S. missile attack last week on a Syrian air base as an unlawful attack against Syria, adding, "We believe it's fundamentally important not to let these actions happen again." It was unclear whether Mr. Lavrov was referring to the U.S. strike on Friday or to what Russia says were rebel stockpiles of chemical weapons that were hit by Syrian government aircraft several days earlier in a town in Idlib province, killing at least 85 people and exposing hundreds of others to a toxic gas. The Moscow meeting will further clarify areas of sharp difference so that we can better understand why these differences exist and what prospects for narrowing those differences may be, Tillerson told Lavrov. Putin has built his reputation on never conceding to any public pressure, said Gleb Kuznetsov, a political expert and consultant to the Kremlin on domestic policies. An ultimatum will lead to Putin strengthening his support for Assad, and this will intensify the Syrian conflict, turning it into a conflict between the West and Russia.
That's the news. Join us here every day. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell. See you next time.
This is TBNN.